joined in. I'm just getting warmed up here. Thanks for tuning in. Just gonna play the singing bowl and give people a chance to tune in before we begin. Hope you've had some time to spend with the full moon. It's beautiful. This bowl reminds me of the full moon. I'm going to start with the Hegao Om Ya Ya Om, which refers to the cosmic mind Jehuti, the cosmic force associated with the full moon here at KemeTones. Om Ya Ya 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 Om Ya Om Ya Om Ya Ya Om Ya Ya Alright, greetings. Welcome to. Oh yes, I've just started working with singing bowls. Well, I only have one right now, and they are amazing. I really enjoy this one, and this one is tuned to the root chakra, the tone of C. So anyway, welcome to tonight's presentation of Cosmic Chimes Chanting for the full moon. For the full moon in sidereal Capricorn. And I know in the Western system, the full moon is in the sign of Aquarius. However, we're using the 13-month sidereal astrology system, which is based on the true motion of the sun and the planets through the constellations. So they're off about a month from the regular Western system, and there's also a 13th constellation between Scorpio and Sagittarius. And you can learn more about that at lightningbonus.com. I have lots of videos already up on YouTube about this subject. So thank you for joining me this rising. And the other thing two things I wanted to mention. First of all, is I also realized this is called the blue moon. And as I posted yesterday or a few days ago, the blue moon is another one of those celestial events that is man-made. It's not based on anything unusual in nature. In the Western system, there are 12 months in a year, and there's 4 seasons, and each season lasts 3 months. Right? So technically, there should be 12 moons and 3 full moons in every season. Should be 3 new moons in every season, 3 quarter moons in every season, three um, 3 quarter moons in every season. However, if you follow the lunar calendar, you will know that there's 13 moons in the 365-day year cycle. So that if there's 13 moons, oh, that was not a good sound. I don't know if you heard that, but that definitely sounded like a gunshot, not fireworks. So I'm just take a moment to send out some positive energy to whatever that is about. I know the full moon brings out all kinds of things in people. Okay, so as I was saying, technically there should be four full three full moons in every season, and there's 13 months in the lunar calendar. So what about the 13th month? Is there a moon there too? There should be. If there's 13 moons, then there should, in one of the seasons, there should be 4 full moons in the season. And so the way the Western system takes care of this is they say that every now and then there's a blue moon. And the blue moon is simply the full moon in the 13th month. And in the 13-month zodiacal system, the months are not all the same number of days. For instance, the true Scorpio is only 7 days long, and the true Virgo, sidereal Virgo, is 45 days long. So the way that the blue moon legend got started was that Farmer's Almanac was posting that there are 3 full moons in one season, and then sometimes there's 4 full moons in one season. And then I believe it was in the I don't know, was it the 70s? I think 1975. An astronomer at UT Austin, Deborah Bird, she was writing up about this, and she accidentally or on purpose wrote that the blue moon is when there's 2 full moons in 1 month. When so far all that had been noted was that there are 3 full moons in every season, and sometimes there's 4 full moons. And also, sometimes there's 4 new moons in one season, or sometimes there's 2 new moons in 1 month, or the quarter moon, or the 3/4 moon. So that is what I wanted to share about the blue moon. That the reason there's a blue moon is because Western system is hiding the 13th zodiac sign of the 13th constellation. If you follow any indigenous calendars, you know that the new year begins in the spring, but this calendar, the Western calendar, begins in January. And there's just a lot of discrepancies or deceptions with the calendar, and that's why I'm focused on the 13-month calendar, because in my opinion, it's more in alignment with how things move in nature. And the other thing I wanted to share before we start the transmission, I'm sure I mentioned it before, that the clock that we use also has been altered because the new day begins at sunrise. But with this system, the new day begins shortly after midnight, and midnight, as the name states, is the middle of night. So if midnight is the middle of night, Kemetic calendar is more accurate. I believe you may be referring to the sidereal, Sirius sidereal calendar from the Earth Center, and I'm referring to the sidereal system that follows 13 months or 13 zodiacs. And at HeruScopes, and KemeTones, we correspond the months, the constellations, and planetary vibrations to the neters. So there are just different systems. A Sirius system is very useful too. I'm just in alignment with the solar system, and I do recognize Sirius. The dog days of Sirius is when Sirius rises again, and then January 31st is the night that Sirius culminates at midnight, which is where we get the New Year at midnight. So yeah, so that's what I was getting to is the Sirius Master Neva. I'm pretty sure that's how we pronounce it. He's the one that talked about this, how they're stealing time from us every night because the middle of night is midnight, and then 1 o'clock, like when this program began, is called 1 o'clock in the morning, right? But morning doesn't begin till sunrise, so it's really 1 hour after midnight. So when I put 1 a.m., I mean 1 hour after midnight. I don't mean 1 hour in the morning. Whereas 12 midnight, well, 11:59 is considered night, and then 12 midnight is just shifts to the morning. So those are the two things I wanted to mention: the blue moon and how they steal time from us at night. So with that, we're going to jump into the transmission about the myth about Nibiru in our solar system. Yes, Nibiru, they say, is a planet that crosses the orbit of the sun, solar system every, 3,600 years. And there's been sightings of a second sun in the sky. And Nibiru is the vibration of knowing the codes, knowing about the codes. We have a tone for that in the Accutonics sound healing system. And I don't use that very much when I do these Cosmic Chimes and Chanting sessions. So do it for reminding me, and I will bring it out next time. They also say that Nibiru has to do with melanated people, and us knowing the codes for, surviving what is ahead or what is coming. It's already happening. The planet of the sun, Sumerian gods, Nibiru. Okay. At this system, I refer to it as Nibiru, which means Lord of spiritual aspiration and redemption of the soul. So it's got many meanings. Lord. Oh, okay. So let's get on with the transmission for tonight for the full moon. I have the tone for the full moon and Saturn and Jupiter that are currently in sidereal Capricorn. I also have Mercury in sidereal Sagittarius. And then I've included the tone for the Earth Day and the Om tone for the Earth grounding. This tone is for the Earth's orbit in 1 day, 24-hour day. And this is the orbit around the sun, a whole year. And I've included those for grounding and strength. So for the full moon, that corresponds to the Neter Jehuti, the cosmic mind. And in another system, Yoruba system, that would be Obatala. But in the Nigerian tradition, Jehuti represents the cosmic mind, the divine intelligence of the creation, of the creator of Nebuchadnezzar, the all-encompassing divinity that is all. um, the omnipresent divinity that is all. And the cosmic mind is what fills our infinite mind when we're open. And when we're open and aware and in alignment, we allow our infinite mind to project our reality. And we use our limited mind in our brain to, to maneuver within this projected reality. However, if we allow our egoism or doubts or, our brain is split in two, we're like constantly going back and forth, then we have a hard time receiving the cosmic intelligence. And so that's something that we can all be more aware of and more in tune with. And hopefully we'll get some openings from this transmission. We have the tone for Saturn, which is currently retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius Capricorn. So it's exalted at this time. And if you've been able to look out at the stars to look at the full moon, there's a bright light shining next to the moon. It's not a star, it's the planet Saturn. So it's in conjunction with the full moon tonight. And Saturn is the planetary vibration that deals with limitation and boundaries and obstacles and challenges in life. And if you're like me, you're going through your second Saturn. If you're age 28 to 35, you're in your first Saturn return. Second Saturn return is 56 to 63. And then it happens again at age 84 to 91. So if you're in your Saturn return, you are dealing with lessons in life and challenges and obstacles and finding your way through them or around them or balancing them. There's many ways to deal with obstacles. And at this time, I'm choosing to focus on not like I have been before, like breaking free of limitations and obstacles or obliterating them or hiding from them or wishing they would go away or changing them to go away. Instead, we're focusing on the illumination, the full moon, and the cosmic mind to increase our awareness and understanding and allow us and empower us to expand beyond boundaries, because we also have Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius Capricorn. And on some levels, these are kind of opposing because Saturn is like restricting and limiting and boundaries. And Jupiter is expansive and opening and awareness. And it also connected to Sagittarius, which is travel and movement and moving forward. And so they're both retrograde in Sagittarius Capricorn. If you've been following HeruScopes for a while, you know that. Okay, yes, we can call it what we like, and Hebrew is a very powerful force, and it's known in many languages and customs and cultures, and you can also call it what you like. And as I was saying, with the portal openings, with retrogrades, it's not to be seen as something negative or to be feared. It just represents an opening. And since we have two planets in retrograde, two portal openings in Sagittarius Capricorn, it's interpreted as a gateway, as a flooding of light. It's not just an opening, but it's a flooding of light, wisdom, information, alignments, attunements, understanding, protection, like all the light qualities of light you can think of are available to us now, dealing with the energies of expanding beyond our limitations and illuminating the way, the path to achieve this. sidereal Capricorn. Capricorn, the energy of Capricorn is that of striving, climbing, achieving success, financial freedom. And so Jupiter is also associated with abundance. So this intention is going to be in harmony with that, and raising that vibration in our life. I've also included Mercury in sidereal Sagittarius, which has to do with also connected to the energy of Jehuti. So we have communication, divine intelligence, and movement, mobility, motion, which aligns with the travel and the wisdom and the elder of sidereal Sagittarius. So put all that together, and that's what's going into the transmission. Again, I've added the tone for the earth and the tone for the earth year to give us guidance and strength. So in the chanting that I'm going to be channeling, if you hear me say dua, that means adorations. We also use that for greeting when we're saying uja, or when you're saying thank you. The posture for this greeting is put our hands like this, dua. We say, we thank you, we see the divine in you, adorations. Or you will hear me say nukpu, which means I am that. And so that means I am, if I say nukpu Jehuti, that means I am the cosmic force of Jehuti, divine intelligence, and the cosmic mind. I am the cosmic mind, I'm in alignment with the cosmic mind. Or if you hear me say dua Amun, Amun is the witnessing consciousness. Amun is the cosmic force that knows all and is aware of all at all times, at all moments, in all places, in all ways. It could be compared to the Akashic records, but this is the cosmic force of that witnessing consciousness. And I spoke about Capricorn and Saturn. I forgot to talk about Geb. Geb is the cosmic force of Earth, not just the planet Earth, but of the stuff that the Earth is made of. Like if you go to Jupiter, there'll be Geb there. If you go to any of the planets or any asteroids, Geb will be there. I suppose if you go to the stars, because the gases that are burning, can also be connected to Geb. So Geb is the force that keeps us on the Earth. It's the gravity, is what weighs us down. It keeps us connected to the Earth. And when it's time for our bodies to die and our souls to be released, if we have any unfinished business, it'll be Geb that holds us back. All right. So, and I talked about Moon and Sagittarius. All right. So let's begin with the transmission. The full moon in sidereal Capricorn. You are Jyoti. You are Geb. You are Amun. You are Jyoti. You are Tu amor. Debout, je vous dis, debout, yeah. Debout, amour. Radiate expansion. Vibrate awareness. Break free of limitation. Radiate vibration. Frequencies of expansion. Frequencies of illumination. Expanding with shifting paradigm. You are Jehuti. You are You are Amu. Expanding our mind, traveling with our thoughts, away from limiting beliefs, seeking higher heights with our mind, attuned to the cosmic mind. The supreme peace in the duality. Right. Well, I'm going to check on some of these questions, comments. Dua Amura. Would you call this music witchcraft? It is super interesting and calming. Well, I suppose you would have to define witchcraft. Um, the definition I know, a witch back in the day was normally typically a woman, although there's warlocks, who was knowledgeable of astrology, astronomy, the stars, lesson stars, the effect they have on our lives, knew about herbs, she knew about healing and natural childbirth, and she was in touch with her femininity, and she was a powerful manifester. She knew the power of the word and the chants, and she was in tune with her ancestors. So if you go by that definition, I would say, I suppose so, because I'm making art, making something with sound, with my wisdom and music. However, from another perspective, this is a science. These chimes, each one is tuned to a different planet, its vibration and orbital frequency based on the research of Kepler, who we know studied with the ancient Egyptians, with the masters of Kemet. So I don't know, would you call Kepler a witch or warlock? I mean, he spent his life looking at celestial objects through a tube with a piece of glass and a mirror, and calculated their orbit, their weight, their size, uh, all kinds of information from this little device that I believe back in the day was considered, to be evil or satanic. I know when different astronomers said that the sun was at the center of the solar system and not the earth at the center, he was killed. I know witches were killed, burnt for expressing this truth and knowledge. The whole ancient Egyptian civilization was basically shut down because of this information, because other societies and cultures wanted the knowledge. I feel like any culture, society, civilization, or human being in the past that carried the knowledge, of the precession of the equinox, they were demonized and silenced, poisoned. So I don't know. Would you say this is witchcraft? This system of chimes came from the acutonics system of integral medicine, and it was designed or created by acupuncturists who were tired of their patients. Some of their patients didn't like the needles, so they devised a system of using tuning forks that are tuned to the planets. I have the whole set of tuning forks that are tuned just like these chimes are, and they place the vibrating tuning forks directly onto the body. And it has similar effects as acupuncture, which is based on traditional Chinese medicine, which we know is thousands of years old. So I don't know. Would you consider traditional Chinese medicine to be witchcraft? This is called sound healing, which is based on the scientific fact that different vibrations have different functions or different effects on the human body. If you study with Dr. Emoto, you would know that different sounds and words and vibrations can alter the molecular structure of water. And our bodies are, depending on who you talk to, between 70 and 90% water. And this was proven by Dr. Emoto when he took samples of water and attached different words to them, like I love you, you're beautiful, I hate you, you're ugly. And he took samples of water from a polluted source, like a polluted river, and then samples of water from a river source that had been prayed over. And he froze the water and looked at the sample under the microscope. And the water samples that had the positive messages were perfectly aligned, like you see snowflakes. And the ones with the negative messages were deformed, like this. And the water samples from the polluted water were deformed, and the ones with the purified water were alignment. And this has been scientifically proven, even by European or Western science. So I don't know, is Western science witchcraft? Then each one of the planetary frequencies, each one of the planets corresponds to a different god or goddess. In the Greek and Roman system, which we know is based on the ancient Egyptian system. So therefore, each one of these tones corresponds to one of the netters, the ancient Kemetic system, the gods and goddesses, which, by the way, represent forces of nature. For instance, we have the force of gravity, we have the force of magnetism, we have the force that keeps the cells together. Then we have powerful forces of love, which corresponds to the goddess Heteru. We have the force of truth and justice and balance, which corresponds to the goddess Ma'at. We have the cosmic force of creation, creativity. The creator is Kepra, and creation is Ra. And then the end of the day, inner creation is Tamu Ra. And even modern day Western science is now proving the validity of the Kemetic Natarian system. So I don't know. I guess we'd have to identify what you mean by witchcraft before I can actually answer that question. So, so that's what I have to say for that question. So the idea behind these transmissions is I looked up the astrology chart, which was posted in the announcement for the live. And then you look up the letters that go with the planets and the constellations, and then channel the chants. So that's basically what this is. It's based on ancient Kemetic wisdom. It's based on traditional Chinese medicine. It's based on acutonics. And and it's based on astronomy, astrology. So I don't know, is astronomy witchcraft? The thing about astronomy is it used to be astrology until the the Europeans came out of the Dark Ages, and separated them because they didn't want the spirituality to be considered as part of the science. And so they separated astrology from astronomy. And then the astrologers took it and fixed time. They deny the precession of the equinox. They deny that time is formed one day every 70 years. They deny that we're actually moving in a spiral, not a circle. And so that is why there's a distinction between the two astrological systems. They both have validity. The Western system, according to 13-month siderealists, the Western system is based on the Earth's orbit around the sun, and they divided the orbit into 12 equal sections and named each section after a constellation. However, it does not reflect the motion of the sun or the planets through the constellation, which is what you would think astrology does. It defines or describes the orbit of the Earth around the sun. So, in this way, we say that the Western astrology system describes how you move about the Earth. You know, for instance, in my case, I'm a Leo in the Western system, so I'm, creative, and my art is music and sound. And my sidereal sign is Capita or sidereal Cancer, which is the creator. Ra is creation, Capita is the creator. And Capita is transformation, and Cancer should be dealing with the family. So Capita is about using creativity to bring about healing and transformation for the family. So that is how we look at the systems of astronomy and astrology. And I hope that this transmission was beneficial for you. It brought some enlightenment. It raised your vibrations and awareness, and you can listen to it again. You can, fast forward and bypass all the talking and go straight to the transmission, or you can, listen to the analysis again. The lunar transmissions are good, said to be valid until the next new moon or full moon. So, like this full moon will be valid until the new moon, and then the new moon until the next full moon. And what else do I have to say? There are 6 or 7 planets retrograde right now, and so that's still in effect. You can watch the retrograde replay. And if you're interested in getting your own Cosmic Chimes and Chanting session, you just reach out to me. And the same process I went through tonight, I would go through with your chart. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions before I sign out. Yeah, about the Sumerian tradition, I am not very well versed in the Sumerian tradition. My current focus is on ancient Egypt. I know they're connected and related, and I know there's some discrepancy as to which came first. And, that really shouldn't be used to divide us. If anything, it's just a timeline, but it shouldn't. I don't like the fact that it's used to divide us. I will be getting back to my studies of the Olmec Mayan count. It's not a calendar, it's a count. And I know there's a connection, a very strong and basic fundamental connection between the Olmec cultures and Kemetic cultures. So in the future, I'll be doing some of that. And today someone asked me about my, my medicine wheel, shamanic healing work. I've been working with Sister Shaman with shamanic Reiki, and they asked me about some different elements of that. So I will be doing some of those posts, more of those posts in the future. I'm looking forward to that. And I will also be doing some more work with the solfeggio frequencies. So I'll be expanding beyond the limitations of the solar system and dealing with some other sound healing systems. And if you have any more questions or comments, Thank you for watching. Not either or and. There you go, Sister Shaman. Not either or and. Yes, we want to make sure everything is included and everything is in its proper perspective and in alignment with what truly is. So that's really important. And loved the answer about which craft you taught so much. Oh, Dua. Alrighty then. So I'm gonna close out for now, and I'll be back new moon, and I'll be back even before then with some other sound healing, um, sound healing videos. So Dua again for joining me, and the full moon is still out, and it'll still be full to rest of the night. It's fullest at 7:02 a.m. Central Time in the morning, but we won't be able to see it then, of course. But that's when it'll be fullest, and it will be full again tomorrow night. And Dua Hatep, thanks again, and love you all. And share some of your experiences, some of your breakthroughs. I'm really going to be meditating a lot on there's like one limiting belief that I'm really still holding on to. And I've been trying to break through it or, put it away. I've tried all these things, and so now I realize that the path is to expand beyond it. There's nothing to do really except to radiate expansion, love, and abundance and prosperity. And once, I've expanded beyond the limiting belief, I will move beyond the limiting belief. So that is the intention for this session, this transmission of this full moon at this time. Okay, Dua, Hatap, one love. Dua. Thank you. Dua for joining. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Right, family, exactly. What is the word in Medinetter for wise woman? That's a very good question. I would have to say, Aku is like a light being, a spirit, Chantress. Um, I I don't know. That's a good question. A healer. I'll have to look into that. That's a good question. Thanks again for joining me. I'm gonna look into that. Let's